What's up, everybody? Celtic Scarecrow here, back with our being at those 10s and 20 views. This is take 3. I kind of screwed up the first 2 times, but this is my way to effing early NFL season prediction featuring the AFC North. I really like this division. It is an old school physical division, and like one of these divisions of like, hey, any team could technically win this Super Bowl. They're all threats. Maybe not in the middle, but no. Normally they are. But yeah, that's what's pretty much going on. I have a plan for the next little mini-series to come out. Still football related because, football. It's king. I might do a couple of things with hockey throughout the thing. It will be NFL rival color swaps, which basically means I'm going to take the NFL teams, like I did here, and go through my great high-tech tool of paint and swap their team's logo. So, for example, I think the Steelers and the Ravens are their biggest rivals, so I would make the Steelers logo purple, black, and gold, vice versa there. But unfortunately, this division has orange and black and brown, orange, and black. So I'll probably do, like, for example, Ravens and Bengals, Steelers and Browns. That being said, of the color redesign logos, I kind of really like this division a lot. I think you can easily make all these the legit thing, and this was paint by an idiot. But enough of that. Let's just get to it. And the first team we are doing is the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens are a really good team. There's not much to be said. Best case scenario is it just all comes together. Lamar Jackson is a really good quarterback. He's starting to prove that, yeah, he can throw from the pocket when need be. Is he the best? Is he going to compete with guys like Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrows? No. But he's definitely not top 15, 20 passing quarterbacks in the league. Derrick Henry just keeps doing Derrick Henry things, taking the pressure off Lamar, and that defense stays consistent. With that being said, basic golden rules are if I'm on your team, if I'm like, I'm not sure, I'll give it to you in best, then auto not give it to you in worst. For example, this first game is one of those toss-up games, so because of the fact that the Lions beat KC week 1 last year, no one saw that coming, I'm going to give it to you. Week 2 against the Raiders. It's the Raiders. I have them as my bottom 5 team in the NFL, so there is a win. The Cowboys at Dallas will be a tough game, but, give it to you. Versus Buffalo, we don't know, blah, 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 blah. Win. You probably, best case scenario, you probably split with the Bengals just due to the fact that it's super hard to beat a good team twice in a season. So this one's at Cincinnati, so unfortunately this will be a loss. Beat Washington because they're not ready yet. Beat Tampa. Beat the Browns. You beat the Broncos. You get your revenge on them Bengals. You'll sweep the Steelers. Beat the Chargers. Beat the Eagles. A week 14 bye is god awful. I'm sorry. That is a bad-sided thing. But you come back against the Giants. It's kind of like a 2-week bye. Beat the Steelers. Beat the Texans, I'll give it to you, and then beat the Browns. So that would put you guys at a great 16-1. I can easily see you guys going perfect in a best case scenario. Joe Burrows isn't there. He hasn't stayed healthy. That could be a thing. But if we're doing best, we have to do the worst, which means we scroll all the way back up. In a worst case scenario, Lamar Jackson isn't a good thrower. He takes that step back. Teams start reading him. Derrick Henry doesn't do Derrick Henry things, and that defense just plays mid. Just saying. team. That being said, you lose to the Chiefs. It was one of those meh, I'm not sure, go either way, auto loss. But you still beat the Raiders. But you lose to the Cowboys, Bills, get swept by the Bengals in a worst case scenario. But you beat the Commies. So, like I said, if I'm iffy, you don't get it, so you lose to the Bucks. In a worst case scenario, you split with the Browns. This one's there, so you lose. I still have you beaten the Broncos. Lose to the Bengals. Worst case scenario, you split with the Steelers, so there is a loss there because it's in Pittsburgh. Lose to the Chargers. Lose to the Eagles. Bye week that you desperately need, but then you beat the Giants. Beat the Steelers. Lose to the Bengals, and then finish the year off by beating the Browns. That will put you at a set total of 6-11. Do I think that's going to be the case? No. In my unprofessional opinion, I probably have you guys closer to, looking at the schedule, 10 to 11 wins, 10 to 12 wins in that bubble of things. But moving on to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now I need to adjust that logo. I'm trying to do more in video. There'll be less edit work for me. So, moving on to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Best case scenario for the Steelers. I'm going to say Justin Fields takes over that starting job and he becomes off the wall. Everything that Chicago thought he was going to be. He is that dual threat quarterback. He is just up there with Lamar Jackson when it comes to stuff like the dual threat ability. The offensive line does good. He's doing a lot better than Kenny Pickett would ever have done in his little hands, I got pause. And Mike Tomlin just keeps doing Mike Tomlin things, which we're all used to by now. So, with that being said, you start off with a very favorable opponent in the Atlanta Falcons. So, there's a nice one. This is, oh my God. This is a gorgeous start of the season. You got the Broncos, which is a win. Chargers. It's an iffy one, so I'm going to give it to you, but you will lose in the other. Then you got the Colts. That's a nice win there. Cowboys. Yes. Just because I'm unsure with Dak and that team, I don't have faith in Dak and that team, so I'll give it to you there. Then you got the Raiders. That's a nice win. The Jets. Aaron Rodgers is imploding this team. Yeah, you heard the speech before. W. The Giants. W. Week 9 bye. That is a good bye right there. Week 9. Beat the Commies. Best case scenario, you split with the Ravens, so I'll give you that one. You're good at home. Sweep the Browns. You split with the Bengals, so there is your first loss of the season. Beat the Browns, you lose to the Eagles. In the Steagle rivalry, you will lose. Lose to Baltimore, because in Baltimore, you lose to KC. I'm sorry. But then you beat the Bengals. So in a best case scenario, you go 13-4. Which would be an amazing jump. That is easily a playoff race. This is a great schedule for an unsure quarterback or a rookie quarterback. Granted, they don't have a rookie quarterback, but this is a favorable, especially the start of the season. From week 10, from week 10 on up. Washington, a bye, the Giants, Raiders, Colts, Broncos, Falcons. That is, if you're unsure, those are the fun ones. Now, moving on to worst case scenario. Justin Fields and Russell Wilson both prove why they were not, on their original teams they were on last year. That team still kind of floats around and does what they do. So let's get down to it. Start off against the Falcons. I still have you winning there. I have such a least thing with the Falcons that's that. But you lose to the Broncos. You lose to the Chargers. The Colts are about the same with you, so you know my rule. You lose there. Lose to the Cowgirls. But you beat the Raiders. I have you at least better than the Raiders. Lose to the Jets. Beat the Steelers. Lose to Washington. Worst case scenario, you get the auto loss. Lose to the Ravens. I still see splitting with the Browns, even in a worst case scenario. So that's still a loss. Lose to the Bengals, probably get swept. Then beat the Browns. Wow, that is weird. Browns, Bengals, Browns. That's not a fun little stretch. Lose to the Eagles. Lose to the Ravens. Lose to KC. And then end the year with a loss to the Bengals, which those 4 losses last year in the best case scenario, well, the amount of wins you got this time. In a worst case scenario, you go 4 and 13. Now, realistically, looking at this schedule, I would definitely have you guys closer to, it's Mike Tomlin, but somewhere between 8 and 10 wins. This is a very soft schedule, in my opinion. So that is that. And we are moving on to the Cleveland Browns, which I'll need to adjust their logo. Haha, victory. Best case scenario. I have no idea what's your best case scenario. Deshaun Watson finally shows up back in the form. I guess that would be it. You have a decent defense, so its season will depend on Deshaun Watson or whatever quarterback you replace with. So, moving on, you will start season off with a loss. In best case scenario, I like the Cowboys better than you. But you do turn around and beat the Bengals. Not Bengals, the Jaguars. You beat the Giants. Beat the Raiders. Beat the Commies. Beat the Eagle. Oh, lose. No. Sorry. No. Yeah. Lose to the Cowboys. Beat Jacksonville. Beat the Giants. Beat the Raiders. Beat Washington. Lose to the Eagles. Yeah, I like the Eagles better than you. And a best case scenario, you split with the Bengals. So this one's at home, so you get that win. Best case scenario, you split with the Ravens. There is a nice win. You beat the Chargers week 10 bye. That's a good bye week right there. You beat the Saints. I'll show some. Best case scenario, you sweep the Steelers. It's a nice win there. Beat the Broncos. Beat the Steelers. Lose to KC. KC is, that next tier up. You lose to the Bengals. There's a split. You probably lose to the Dolphins. Lose to the Ravens. Ooh, that is not a good end of the year stretch, but that still should put you around 11 and 6, which is not bad. Now, looking at the schedule going forward, this is not a terrible schedule. But if we do the best case scenario, we have to do the worst case scenario. Worst case scenario for this is, Deshaun Watson sucks. He's not getting those happy ending superpowers that he had down in Houston. So that being said, this should look kind of ugly. You will lose to the Cowboys, lose to Jacksonville, still beat the Giants, still beat the Raiders, lose to the Commanders, Lose to the Eagles. You probably get swept by the Bengals and the Ravens. Lose to the Chargers. Lose to the Saints. Yeah, you get swept by your whole division in a worst case scenario. I'm going to give you a win over the Broncos. Now, I'm not iffy. I'm not high on the Broncos. I think they're probably 2 or 3 years out, so there's that. Get swept by the Steelers. Lose to KC. Lose to the Bengals. Lose to the Dolphins. And end the year with a loss to the Ravens. That gives you a great grand total of 3 wins. Now, realistically, looking at this schedule, that slide is starting to get on my nerves. We're good at that. See how that works. No, I don't have you guys at 3. I'll probably say realistically, you guys are probably looking at an 8. Somewhere between like a 7 and 9 win schedule to be more realistic. It's not like a super tough schedule, but there are a lot of tough teams. This schedule is going to be like, hey, if you make the playoffs, you earned your right to be there. Now, moving on to our final team of the division. The Bengals. Now, we got to tweak the thing because it is a little tiny, so we're going to make it bigger. Best case scenario for the Bengals is Joe Burrow stays healthy. Boom. That offense line clicks. Their defense does what their defense does. It's this team's success is, can Joe Burrow stay healthy? That being said, you start off the year against New England. That is a nice way to start off the season with a nice win. And a best case scenario, yeah, I'll give it to you. It's one of those things where I'm iffy on the win. I'll give it to you. You beat the Commanders. You beat the Panthers. Best case scenario, you sweep your whole division. So there's beat the Ravens. You beat the Giants. You beat the Browns. It's at home, so I'll give it to you. You beat the Eagles. Beat the Raiders. Beat the Ravens. Beat the Chargers. Week 12 by not the greatest, in my opinion. It's better than 14, but still not the best. Beat the Steelers. Beat the Cowgirls. Beat the Titans. Beat the Browns. Wow, beat the Broncos. And then finish off the perfect season by beating the Steelers. I didn't even give your division rivals, the Ravens, a perfect season. I said that in the best case scenario, they split with you. And that more or less has to deal with one simple thing. I have more faith in Joe Burrow because he has proven that over Lamar. At least when it comes to passing. But in a worst case scenario is that offense line sucks and Joe Burrow does not have another fully healthy season. That being said, I still have you guys beating the Patriots. The Patriots are that team where it's just like, hey, we don't know anything about their coaching. They have a rookie quarterback. And so let's move it on. You will lose to KC, though. Lose to Washington. Yeah, no, beat Washington. Because I'm going to have you lose to the Panthers. I actually like the Panthers. If things click, we should be competitive. And that's what worst case scenario does. You get swept by the Ravens. You still beat the Giants, though. And in a worst case scenario, you probably split with the Browns. In a worst case, this is at Cleveland, so there is that loss. Lose to the Eagles, but beat the Raiders. Like I said, swept by the Ravens. Lose to the Chargers, your bye week. You split with the Steelers, so this one's at home, so you get that win. Lose to the Cowgirls. Beat the Titans. Titans need to prove it to me first. Beat the Browns. Beat the Broncos, and then lose to the Steelers. So I should have you right around. I lost count. I've lost count. Let's see. That's what. We'll do a quick one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right around 7 or 8 wins, which for a worst case scenario is actually pretty good, going 8 and 9. But on the realistic side, looking at the schedule, I would have you more closer to, if Joe Burrow stays healthy and everything goes just normal, probably around 10 to 12 win season. But I'm giving the full division advantage to the Ravens. They are the ones who kind of have seem to be going everything for him. Lamar stays healthy. Lamar doesn't have injury problems, which you normally see with smaller mobile quarterbacks. They did just pick up Derrick Henry. Their defense is normally pretty good. And those are things that you can't say about the Bengals. The Browns are, and same with the Steelers. You don't know. That's it. That's all I have. I will see you weird people later.